How's it going, folks? I hope everyone's doing well. I did not have World War III on my apocalypse bingo for this year, and that would be a Corgi with a deer antler rattling it in her bowl because she's having a blast with that. So apologies for the noise, but if I take it away, she's gonna bark and complain. So that's the quieter option. In any case, folks, if you didn't see the Five Wise Men on Prepper Now's channel on Sunday night, or the Four Horsemen last Tuesday, and the Four Horsemen will be back tomorrow, definitely come check it out. We're trying to talk about practical, pragmatic approaches to what's going on. It's a lot of moving parts and a lot of people are freaking out. So I wanted to start this situation report with just telling folks, look, stay with the basics. Panicking, freaking out, Stormy, she's just having a party all by herself over there. Those kind of things don't help. Stay with the basics. Look, make sure your car has gas. Make sure you have some food in the house. If you're just starting out, believe it or not, FEMA.gov has a great basic list of how to make a hurricane preparedness box. It's like a 72-hour kit. Go to Walmart, get one of those stupid 5-gallon plastic containers and put some stuff in there and just start with something small, something you can sit at home and say, I have the beginnings of something, and then go from there. I'm going to go through the situation report. Now, those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. The way the situation report goes, it's every week. I try to do it every Monday afternoon. It's a compilation of corporate, government, and open media releases that it comes to me because of my job. What I can share, I will tell you the source. You guys get to look it up. I'm not going to go dig up links. You look up your own links, but I'll try to tell you where it came from and you can go search them. It goes by region, alphabetically, not by continent, by region, and then by country within each region. So let me get started here. Okay, so starting with A, Africa. Okay, so the Sahel region's hardest hit by terrorism worldwide. Says Global Terrorism Index 2025. This is from Africa News. The Sahel region in Africa accounted for 51% of reported global terrorist-related deaths in 2024, up from 48% in 2023, according to the Sydney-headquartered Institute for Economics and Peace. Equatorial Guinea. South African engineers freed after 2 years in a jail. That's according to BBC. 2 South African engineers were returned home after spending more than 2 years in jail on a charge that even the UN called an arbitrary and illegal drug charge. Folks, if you go overseas, just because it's legal in America does not mean it's legal overseas. And, you know, like some states, marijuana is legal, right? Or CBD. You will absolutely go to jail. And going, I'm an American, I have rights, in Africa or Russia, that's not Australia, it's not the UK, you're not gonna get a fine and sent home. You're going to freaking jail. In a jail that you don't speak the language and who they probably would want to beat you up or abuse you in some way because you're an American and you have money. Compared to the rest of the world, most of us do. Even the poor Americans are doing better than like someone in the bad parts of Africa or India. So be smart when you travel. Also, if you do have to take meds, make sure they are in a labeled bottle, like a formal script bottle. Don't just throw pills in the little pill boxes that the old folks use, you know, Monday through Friday, because it has no labels. They're gonna look at it and say, we don't know what this is, illegal drug. You're gonna go to jail, okay? And again, you're not entitled to shit in another country. And the reason I'm so upset about this is because this has actually happened to people I know after I told them not to do that. I'm like, that's not what you take with you. I don't care if it's legal in Denver. It's not legal in Russia or wherever the hell they were going. Anyway, just be smart. Moving on, Nigeria. Nigerian police arrest 22 suspects after a deadly bus attack. Police arrested 22 suspects accused of a mob attack that left at least a dozen people killed 2 days ago in central Nigeria. My God. So what did they go machete a bunch of people in a bus? When they said 22, I haven't read this, by the way. This is, I printed it out and I came to the camera. Good Lord. Okay, moving on from that. Oh, yeah, let's not go to that part of the world. I'm sorry, I'm a bit salty with everything going on this week. Okay, East Asia and Pacific, Papua New Guinea, magnitude 5.7 earthquake strikes Papua New Guinea's New Britain region. According to Reuters, magnitude 5.7 struck the New Britain region of Papua New Guinea on Monday. Thailand, Thai authorities seize more than 2 tons of crystal meth worth over 90 million. Damn. See, and then you wonder, like, yeah, it's a lot of money. You know, that's why they struggle with it. Seized from a tourist boat near a pier in eastern Thailand. That's according to Associated Press News, AP News. Could you imagine being on a tourist boat and down below they have crystal meth and you have no idea because you went there to go see the whales or some shit, and then the Coast Guard or police pull you over and now you're one of the idiots stuck on the boat and you had nothing to do with it? That would suck immensely, by the way. But that earthquake, all joking aside, the earthquake's important because tsunamis, earthquakes, typhoons, those kind of natural disasters sometimes come out of the blue. And if you are traveling and you're like, you've seen that movie where the family was on the beach and it was based on an actual family and what do you call the wave hit out of nowhere, the tsunami, and just devastated the whole city. You need to have a plan for that, right? You want to go on vacation and relax. You don't want to be worrying about what could happen to you in an emergency, but the truth is an emergency can happen everywhere. And again, from experience, I always try to travel prepped, if that makes sense. Moving on though, sorry, I'm going on rabbit trails today. Anyway, Europe. Greece to reinforce firefighting teams on Chios as wildfires rage for the second day. There's another natural disaster. You're taking a vacation in Greece, and now the island's on fire, you know. Ukraine, Russian attacks on Ukraine kill at least 10 people, most in Kiev. Russian drones and missiles killed at least 10 civilians in overnight attacks. This is according to AP News. Local officials said Monday, 7 deaths reported in the capital, where emergency crews raced to save people who were trapped under partial collapsed buildings. United Kingdom, finally, United Kingdom bans Palestine action under the anti-terrorism laws. This is according to Reuters. Palestine actions is kind of like a Free Palestine movement, but for the UK, if that makes sense. Britain said on Monday it would ban Palestine action under its anti-terrorism laws, making it a criminal offense to belong to the pro-Palestinian campaign group, which last week damaged 2 UK military planes in protest at for London's support of Israel. Wow, how did they get to the military planes? Because if you jump the fence at like Dyes Air Force Base and the SFCU, security forces, they will shoot your ass. Like they will delete you from the planet. So I guess the UK is nicer than the Americans are, but then that's why their planes get damaged. Moving on, Middle East, North Africa, Israel. Here's fun. Well, give me a minute here. Whew. Okay, air raid siren sound as Israel warns of incoming Iran missiles as conflict enters the 11th day. For the record, the October 7th attack occurred in 23, if I'm correct. Ergo, they've been at war for over a year. They're closing in on a 2 years of war right now. And now they've got another war, bigger one. Tehran threatened on Monday to inflict serious damage in retaliation for U.S. strikes on the Islamic Republic's nuclear facility as the Iran-Israel war entered its 11th day, despite calls for de-escalation. That's from Arab News. By the way, Arab News has some very interesting regional insights, and they have a flavor of the local culture. So if you can jump on that page every now and then, it's very interesting. Syria. Suicide bombing at Damascus church kills at least 22. UN Syria envoy shares outrage, according to Arab News. This is another one. At least 22 people were killed and more than 50 injured when a suicide bomber blew himself up at the Mar Elias church in the Douilia neighborhood of Syria's capital, Damascus, according to security services. South and Central Asia, Pakistan, pre-monsoon rains underway in various Punjab districts. Yeah, they have a pretty bad weather situation going on. Pre-monsoon rains were recorded on Monday in various districts of Punjab in the last 24 hours, according to the Provincial Disaster Management Authority. Moving to the Western Hemisphere, Bolivia. Bolivia's Labor Minister Rodriguez dies. Authorities launch a probe, according to Reuters. Bolivian Labor Minister Erlan Rodriguez Lafuente has died, prompting authorities to open an investigation into the circumstances surrounding his death. Ooh, maybe he didn't die like a normal person. Or how do you die normal? I guess, I don't know. It was suspicious, obviously, that they're investigating. Colombian army says 57 soldiers kidnapped by civilians under pressure from FARC, which is their rebel group. Colombia's army said on Sunday that 57 soldiers were kidnapped by civilians acting under pressure from FARC dissidents in a mountainous area of the country's southwest. That is so confusing. That's according to Reuters. I thought FARC had made like a peace treaty with the government. I guess not. Okay, moving on. Costa Rica, Nicaragua. Nicaraguan exiles demand protection after Costa Rica assassination. From the Tico Times. I've never heard of that before. More than 70 exiled Nicaraguans demanded international protection on Friday following the death in Costa Rica of retired Army officer Roberto Samcam, a prominent critic of Daniel Ortega and Rosario Murillo's government. So I guess they killed the opposition leader there. Haiti's presidential council confirms the use of mercenaries in an anti-gang fight in the Miami Herald. The head of Haiti's presidential transition panel acknowledged for the first time the government's use of foreign contractors to fight armed gangs. Actually, one of the guys is Eric Prince, who was one of the founders of Blackwater, now running a different company. Those guys are legit and they're violent. But unfortunately, and see, I did a whole video about my fear of civilian mercenaries like PMCs in America. That would be way less likely than out here, but Haiti has completely lost the airport. Like, they had to fight to get their airport back so people could come and help them. So clearly this is truly an SHTF. So if you want to see a good model of what would happen in an utter collapse where not even the county, regional, there's no law, Haiti. Mexico concerned by influx of Colombian mercenaries. Oh, El País, that's interesting. The arrest of 9 former military personnel in Michoacán sheds light on a growing phenomenon in the region, which is experiencing high rates of violence. Again, when you have uncontrolled immigration or they're sneaking past your control points, you don't know who's coming in. If they have Colombian mercenaries coming in who may well have been trained by us or the Russians or whoever the hell else, some of these guys are not like your, Johnny Sicario from the little county and you gave him a gun and a plate carrier and taught him to fight. Like, some of these guys are legitimately trained in counter and insurgency and espionage and shit. So I guess they got bills to pay too, but shoot, be careful in Mexico. Panama suspends constitutional protections in the Northwest after destructive protests. The AP News. Panama suspended constitutional protections, including the right to assemble and a free movement, for 5 days in northwestern Bocas del Toro province Friday after 2 months of protests and road blockades turned more destructive. That's according to AP News as well. If you travel overseas, or even if you travel domestically in your home country, I'm assuming most of you are in the West, so Canada, US, Mexico. I know I have folks follow me in Argentina and some from the UK and Australia, but even in your own country, be cognizant when you leave your home area to go somewhere else what could be going on. It can happen here, right? I leave my little city out in the middle of nowhere, and it's technically a city. We're under 500,000 between the two mini cities out here. But I wind up going to Dallas or Houston, and there's a protest going on in a big city, and there's a big commotion and traffic and accidents and everything. That suddenly becomes a challenge for me as a traveler. So you need to plan this stuff out. Bringing medicines, drugs, you really need to be careful, because again, even in Mexico, they catch you with CBD in another country and they figure out what it is. You know, they use the swab or whatever and they test, and it tests positive for marijuana product or gummies, which are legal in a lot of states in the US. You're going to jail. And good luck. They're basically going to take your shit and you're going to jail. And you don't want to go to a jail in a country you can't even speak the language. And even though I can speak Spanish, I don't want to go to a Mexican jail. That's not going to be good for me. So be smart when you travel and pay attention to what's going on. That Colombian mercenaries is concerning, because if Mexico is having an immigration problem because of us, could you imagine what we have in our country? And with everything going on in the world, that scares the hell out of me. In any case, I'm looking for any other updates. Protests, Iran, Israel, security region call, but that was from last week, so that's going to be outdated. Meetings in Tokyo, Baghdad overseas. I'm not going to the Baghdad meeting, that's for sure. All right, folks, that's it for this one. Ladies and gentlemen, stick with your basics. Make sure your vehicle's in good shape, air in your tires, gas in your tank, you have food at the house. At a very minimum, if you're starting, enough to stay at home for 3 days to a week while you figure out what the hell your next move is. If you're traveling, bring a get-home bag, bring some basic amenities. You might have to live out of your vehicle for a few days. Bring some food that you don't have to cook, like MREs. Hell, even the Chef Boyardee with the little pop lid. Yeah, eating those for 2 days sucks, but you know what? It's better than not eating. So anyway, folks, that's it for this one. You guys be good, be safe, be careful out there. Pay heed to these travel warnings. Watch State Department. I did just get wind of a State Department alert regarding Iran and Israel and travel. I'm going to do a separate video on that, so this one doesn't go any longer than it already has. Thank you so much. You guys be good, be safe, be careful, plan your trips. Godspeed. I will see you on my next video. You guys take care.